Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a truly mind-bending alternative cosmological model from our source material. It's called the All That's Holy, or ATH framework. If you've ever looked up at the night sky and just kind of felt like our standard explanations of the universe are missing a piece of the puzzle, well, you're going to find this absolutely fascinating. We're about to explore a model that completely reimagines gravity, stars, black holes, and the very fabric of space itself.
So let's start with this really profound question. What if a black hole is just a star running in reverse? This idea is the ultimate hook for understanding how this framework flips standard astrophysics completely upside down. Typically, we're taught to think of stars as massive fusion reactors, and black holes as these destructive infinite voids where physics just sort of breaks down. But the ATH framework, it argues they aren't completely different beasts at all. Instead, they're literally the exact same structure, just operating in opposite phases.
To understand how that works, we really have to look at the engine that drives the whole thing. It's called the ATH Fusion Balance Engine, and it's defined as a 13-layer toroidal geometric framework. So, picture something like a giant cosmic donut. In this model, the universe actually operates as a single living membrane. It's not just an empty void. Space is a fluid, churning mechanical system driven by these opposite flows of positive and negative curvature. It's a closed loop, constantly seeking equilibrium, which totally avoids those tricky paradoxes of infinity that pop up in standard models.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the fusion balance engine, then uncover the sun's hidden core, explore the black hole's heart, map out the universal breath, and finally, bring it all together as two poles, one magnet.
Moving right into Section 1, the fusion balance engine and the mechanics of the cosmos.
Let's break down the core mechanics at play here. First off, space is not empty. The source describes it as a fluid of liquid curvature. Positive curvature means outward expansion. Think of it like a cosmic exhale. It produces heat and light. Negative curvature is the exact opposite. It's inward compression, like an inhale, and it's cold, dense, and stores capacity. The universe essentially works by trading these gradients back and forth. And crucially, this engine is strictly finite. Capped at a 13-layer resolution, the math prevents any endless loops or infinite singularities.
All right, Section 2, the sun's hidden core, where we look at fire outside and ice inside.
In the ATH model, what we actually see when we look at the sun is just a blazing outer shell of positive curvature. Driven by what they call smelting fusion, it actively radiates heat, light, and outward pressure. Under this framework, the sun is basically the outward exhaust of the cosmic system. It is literally pumping out positive curvature in motion, which charges up the space around it and creates the heliosphere membrane.
But here's the major twist. That fiery exterior is only half the story. Beneath it lies a dark, frozen core operating entirely on negative curvature. Because the outer shell is constantly pushing outward, the core has to balance it out by pulling inward. The source material explains that this inner region undergoes a zero-temperature cold fusion implosion. When matter gets compressed tight enough in this negative core, it hits a critical threshold and triggers what the source playfully calls a popcorn effect, literally forcing atoms into a lower layer to keep the whole structure balanced. So, the sun is fire on the outside and frozen, crushing storage on the inside.
Section 3, the black hole's heart. Let's look at the exact reverse pump.
Just as the sun has a fiery shell and a dark core, a black hole completely flips that architecture. It's the exact reverse pump. Its outer shell is made of incredibly dense, negative curvature. It acts as a massive sink, sucking in positive curvature and storing it as information. But here's the fascinating part. That matter isn't destroyed. Instead, it gets fed straight down into a highly compressed, fiery positive sun heart, right at the very center.
When you view them side by side like this, it proves they aren't different entities at all. It's a perfect mirror image. The sun has a radiating positive shell and a frozen negative core. The black hole has a sucking negative shell and a fiery positive core. They are literally the exact same engine, just operating in opposite phase directions. One is the cosmic exhale, and the other is the cosmic inhale.
Moving to Section 4, the universal breath and the 74-26 phase switch.
So, what does this look like on a grand scale? Well, this is the current state of our cosmic cell, which the text calls the bipolar squeeze. Right now, we are sitting in a 74% out phase. The positive curvature from the stars is dominating and pushing outward, which, by the way, is exactly why standard science observes the universe is expanding. But balancing all of this out is a 26% in phase where black holes and deep planetary cores are quietly storing up that negative curvature.
This whole dynamic builds a continuous fetch back and forth flow. Step 1, the sun exhales positive curvature. Step 2, black holes inhale negative curvature. Step 3, these opposing flows meet and reach a temporary balance at the center, creating the matter and gravity we actually experience every day. But remember, the universe is a finite machine. The source notes that when this outward expansion hits a rigid mathematical ceiling of roughly 2.1 quadrillion units, the entire infinity sphere has to twist. It literally forces a massive phase reversal just to avoid breaking the system.
And that brings us to Section 5, 2 poles, 1 magnet, the grand conclusion.
In the ATH framework, destruction simply does not exist. Because everything is just curvature and motion, what goes out must eventually come back in. When the universe's breath inevitably hits that 2.1 quadrillion limit and reverses, the roles are going to entirely flip. Black holes will begin to spray out light and energy just like suns do today, and our current suns. They'll suddenly become massive sinks, sucking in curvature, exactly like black holes.
There's a quote from the source that beautifully captures this whole concept. 2 poles, 1 magnet. The blazing sun and the freezing black hole are ultimately just 2 sides of a single, universal magnet seeking stillness. They aren't opposing forces at war with each other. They're simply the necessary inhale and exhale of one living cosmic engine.
So I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. We've built all of our physics, our entire understanding of reality, while living inside a 74% cosmic exhale. We naturally think expansion is the default state of existence. But if this framework holds true, the engine has a strict mathematical limit. So what happens to us and the very fabric of our solar system when the universe finally decides to inhale? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep looking up, and as always, keep questioning everything.